Yeah.
Dude, so many creators. And this is a little San Diego Comic Con talk for you. There's this big picture of Black creators that we do that they do every year.
Hmm.
I've been so hyped to get in. It's the brother who does the Black Heroes Matter shirts.
Okay.
He's the one who kind of puts it together. He's an artist and everything. And so, the guy from there's a comic book label called Stranger Comics, and he works with all these celebrities. And Prentice Penny makes a comic with him. Prentice Penny's the director, one of the directors, showrunner for Insecure.
Hmm.
And so he was there. All these great Black comic artists, and they scheduled at the same time as the Eisner Awards.
Okay.
Which so we had to leave and go to the Eisners. Well, half of the people from the picture ended up, not half, a good chunk of the people from the picture ended up with COVID.
Wow.
And so we tested and we're good. But I think if we would have stuck around, shook a few more hands, and I think San Diego did its best. But when you talk about your best just not being good enough, it can't. COVID's a beast. Like it can't.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this from a person who's taken real L's through
Yeah.
COVID. Like I'm coming up on my mother's death anniversary. She died of COVID, and it's like this thing is real. And so when I hear this stuff about monkeypox, I'm like,
It's real, man. And just like even before all this stuff was going on, you still had the Comic Con crud.
right, because
That was a thing. All that shaking hands, and people come
Yeah.
from all different parts of the country and everything. Yeah, and you inside of a building that's closed in close proximity. Oh yeah, it's a petri dish basically.
It do. And then nerds don't have a good reputation for being clean. So so it's like, and I'm new to nerd culture. I embrace it. I put myself in there and I call myself one now, but I wasn't that. And so, and people are like, well, you must have been it and just didn't know it. It's like, yeah, because there were no libraries or bookstores in my neighborhood. So I think, yes, I probably was one, but I'm also a product of my my nurturing.
Yeah.
My neighborhood didn't produce nerds on that level.
Right.
We did and we didn't. Not your stereotypical nerds. Like my brother has 2 master's degrees.
Wow.
But on the same flip end, back in the day, he was in them streets. Let's just say that. It's that kind of thing, where so coming into nerd culture, I did realize that certain comic book stores smelled bad. Some of them were just dirty. I went to one comic book store and it was just books hanging everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, they don't care about they folks.
Yeah, it's just the kind of nature of it. You got the dingy, dusty ones, and you have the ones that are kind of like nowadays is almost like a boutique. Matter of fact, I was so used to the other ones that when they start having the boutique ones, I felt weird about it.
Yeah.
Even though it's technically nicer, it's just like there's no dust nowhere. They don't. Everything's lined up. Yeah, it's not bent up in the back. Yeah,
every book is bagged and boarded in my shop,
and not bent up and stuff. And you don't you don't have these messy boxes that's kind of books stuffed in there. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a whole new world. So it took me a minute to get used to just seeing these nice, clean, laid out nicely in order comic book stores. Because before you just kind of good luck.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I hide comics in my store if I ain't got now. Not so much anymore, but when I first got into comics, I was just a few years ago, I was starting 2 new businesses at once. Mm-hmm. And I had no money. So sometimes it feels like, ooh, I really want this one. Yes, it's going to go in the back of this. I'll pick something that's got a ton of stuff. Like, oh, this is going to go in the middle of this Justice League. Yeah. And I'm like, why is this Luke Cage in the middle of Justice League? Hush. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's people like me that kept that I was glad that my comic book shop that I have has 2 different sections. There's a huge 50-cent bin, mm-hmm. which is nasty. Mm-hmm. And then there's this nice polished, everything's bagged and boarded and priced side of it. I'll be on that side sometime, but my side is the 50-cent side. Yeah. Touching stuff. Now it's just like I put on gloves, I go in, dig in. And I started this journey as research and development. And something hit me the other day that as I began to wrap on my film, mm-hmm. I have no reason to buy comics anymore. And I'm thinking, is this the end of my journey? Will all this wall come down? And then the next time, you see me, if the movie's wrapped and done doing promotion, and all of a sudden it's the next documentary about black hair, which I do have a couple of treatments on that. So will everything be hair related? But will I have hair magazines hanging up? Like what it will be the next, because part of this is inspiration.
Right.
But will this journey keep going for me? And I think it may. I think it honestly may. So
No, I think that's interesting because a lot of times, okay, first of all, the thing with the hiding the books things, that's just a collector's thing. I collect action figures ever since I was a kid, and it was like an action figure I couldn't get. It was the last one. I had to stuff it behind the Barbies because I wanted my He-Man figure. Next time, hopefully, we went back to Toys R Us. Yeah. So that's just but it's interesting too when you said that, like, taking down a collection because you were done with that journey. It's funny because even like I said, if you starting later, it gives you a different kind of perspective. Because somebody from like me that's been doing it for so long, you don't know where that end is. And it's been your identity for so long, you don't know how to get off that ride. Even if it's done, you'll just do it just because out of reflex. And it's almost hard to put a line on it. Like, okay, this served what it needed, It's almost kind of like eating chips, like you're full, but you like the taste, so you continue on.
Yeah.
And it takes a strong person, and it shouldn't even have to take a strong person for this, but it takes a strong person to leave some chips left in that bag instead of just being like, let me just finish this off. It ain't gonna hurt me. But the journey was done half a bag, but you just can't let it go because the bag is open and there's still some left in there. So I think it's and I think it's more appreciation for the journey if you do figure out a way to put an ending on it. I don't mean necessarily sell your collection, but just to have closure.
Well, I think, for me, the funny thing about that is I have like 4 grails I'm chasing, and I'm not chasing them. They're my grails personally, right? Uh-huh. And I'm not chasing these comics graded. I'm chasing them regular so I can read them. That's the Lois Lane, I'm Curiously Black episode issue. The Nubia, the 2 issues that introduced Nubia and Wonder Woman. Lobo #1. Like I said, I got Lobo 2. I think I want I think I'm missing 3 of the Storm Prelude to a Wedding joints. I got all of the Black Panther Prelude to a Wedding, or whatever the name is, but there was a Storm line up in 2. Yeah. That was her story. I'm missing like issue 2 and 4. So it's that. And then it's a couple of old school ones like Dr. Voodoo, the introduction, and I think it was a Strange Comics number, I want to say 72 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's like 2 more that I know that I'm missing. And of course, everybody wants the introduction to John Stewart, Green Lantern. We all want the first Black Panther appearance with the Final Four, the first Black Panther solo, comic, not the first Jungle Action. Like, we want our key number ones. Yeah. But the main 2 that would make me say, all right, I can finally box these up, is once I've had a little bit of time to show off that Curiously Black, Lobo #1. Mm-hmm. I think the Nubia thing is just personally I want it. Yeah. But the Curiously Black, and of course, what's eluded me? What's and that? It's cheap and it keeps up the Brother Voodoo. Huh. Like, that one keeps eluding me. But the one I'm proud of when we talking about comic books as a collector, I got a hold of the Blue Marvel. Okay. So I came in reading articles and research and development, and they were like, well, the most powerful, arguably, and they say the word arguably, most powerful Black superhero in the Marvel world is Blue this Blue Marvel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to my comic book store. Where can I find this guy at? And they were like, it was a short run written by, Kevin. I can't say his last name. Start with a G. Real conservative, like I think former military background guy. So when you meet him in person, I've met him in person.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like forthcoming with that storyline too much. He's got this new line of stuff he likes to talk about. But finding it was in limited print. So when it came out, it said 1 of 6. But then it ended up just being 5 of 5. I got 1 through 5. I walked in a comic book store one day and boom, 1 through 4 was just sitting there.
Mm.
And then they're like, he sent number 1 off to be graded. It's now sitting there and it's selling for $600. Then he came around a corner and said, hey man, I got this other one. One of the pages is stuck together. Doesn't affect the story or anything, but one of the pages is stuck together. I give it to you for $100. I was like, oh, absolutely. So I have all 5. And mid condition, it's not graded, but I know it's in a little less than mint condition. That number 1, it has some sticky stuff on the inside.
Yeah.
But I have that one, and I know I paid, $100 and some for that. It's the most I probably paid for. Because I try to find them cheap. That's the for real.
Yeah.
But I paid for that because I was like, this is something I wanted really bad.
Right.
And the crazy thing, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, no, I cannot believe I got that. Like I spent years digging, 2 years digging through bins and never finding it, and then just in one go round.
Yeah.
I ended up getting it. And so yeah, I went and paid for that number 1. And really when I looked on eBay last, if I wanted to sell all 5 of those, that's an easy $900.
Wow.
And that is one of the Black comics that does have a high value. And I think a big part of this because the creator does a lot of work in conservative spaces. And so he keeps the value going because he keeps that demographic of fans loving him.
I was wondering, I was kind of curious about that because Blue Marvel came a lot later.
Yeah, he's not an original.
He's not like, an old character. So
it's backwritten as an old character.
Yeah, exactly. But he wasn't. So
wasn't.
So that's why I was surprised that the value of it went the way it did. Coming soon is a conversation where we do a deep dive, not only talking about the new comic book company, the Ripperverse, but we also discuss the future of Black comics and what that means. Until next time, peace.